guys. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Sergeant Anthony Gibbs, Guthrie Police Department. This afternoon at about 2:10 p.m., our communications officers received a call that there had been a shooting in the Walmart parking lot. As our officers were responding, we got a little more information that the suspects in it were driving a red pickup with a black flatbed. The reason why that was important is our officers that were responding actually ended up intercepting that vehicle and attempting to stop it. The vehicle drove farther than necessary and ended up driving into the fire department, the Guthrie Fire Department's parking lot, where officers made contact with them. The officers found that inside that vehicle there was a male and a female. They're related in some way. The driver was stating that it was his wife. I don't know if I can verify that at this point because we're unsure. But the driver was stating that, and that she had been shot. The passenger had been shot in the abdomen. The passenger was metaflighted, and the officers that responded to the scene, though, as they began to do an investigation, found that that another subject had been shot as well in the parking lot. So since the first press release that we did a moment ago, we've gotten some more information. It appeared that they had actually gotten into an argument. So as the driver and the passenger of the red pickup were pulling into the parking lot, there was an argument between the victim in this case that was walking into the store. The victim walked on and got all the way into the entry door as the two in the pickup were parking. The driver exited the male and began to walk into the door, at which time the victim turned from the entry doors of Walmart and began to walk to what appeared to be his vehicle. The driver appeared to notice this, turned, went back to the passenger side of his vehicle, where we believe that at that point in time he retrieved a revolver, a 5-shot revolver. The gun appeared to go off at that point, striking the passenger in the abdomen. At this time now, we have the victim that's walking from the door that's actually at the end of the truck and continuing to what appeared to be on a straight course past the pickup. However, the driver, now having retrieved the firearm, turned and began to fire rounds, striking the victim in this case. The victim fell to the ground, where it appeared that the driver continued to fire and eventually ended up standing over him at that time. So at this point, both subjects, both victims in this case, the one who was shot in the car and then the one who was shot in the Walmart parking lot, both of them have been transported to the hospital. I do not currently know their status. I'm trying to figure that out, and I'll get that to you. But the driver has been arrested for several charges. One is reckless discharge. One is shooting with intent, and the other one is felon in possession of a firearm. He has been booked in currently and will be able to provide names, photos, and that type of thing for you. Is there any questions that I can take at this time?
Any more about how to fight?
So the charges again, shooting with intent, reckless discharge, and felon in possession of a firearm.
Any more on how this fight started? Exchanging of words, anything like that?
All we know
Racial
is
slurs seem to be a motivation from witnesses.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Yeah, I can't confirm that it was racial slurs or not, but from what I understand, there was an argument at the driver's side of the truck before the one subject began to walk into the door, and then the driver parked the car.
At this point, has the man in the vehicle said he accidentally shot the woman? Is that where that's coming from?
Shortly after we got that initial information, the driver had decided that he didn't want to talk anymore to us. So, but that was coming from the investigators.
Anthony, did you guys recover a gun?
We did. We recovered a gun inside the vehicle. It had 4 spent casings in it, and then 1 live that was in the chamber.
So how many times was the male victim shot, and was he shot in the back?
From what I understand, he was struck once by the rounds, and it was in the back.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Female shot in the stomach,
In the abdomen, yes.
How many times was he shot at?
That again, we believe it is 3 times, but because again, that's what would bear out in that. However, from the video and things that we've seen, there's no sound at this point. So we're still putting those things together.
Are these 3 people local? Are they from out of town? Or are they local?
That I don't know. The arrestee that we have is an Arthur Lee Cloud. And as far as his location, I'm unsure of that at this time.
So you said that he was standing over the victim, and then is that when he turned and got back in the car with his relation and left?
Yes. So after there was a short time that he stood over the victim, he turned, got back into the pickup, and then left very quickly out of the parking lot, rather than staying, rendering aid or anything like that. So he left quickly out of the parking lot again. That's when our officers ended up attempting to stop him as he was driving north.
In my understanding, he drove to the fire department so that his spouse, fiance, girlfriend, to get help. That's why he drove to the fire department?
That's unclear.
Okay.
Again, our officers tried to stop him prior to that.
Okay.
However, he ended up pulling into the fire department's parking lot.
There was an indication that the victim, the other male victim that was outside of the car, might have gone for a weapon as well. Have you found any evidence of that, or that he got a shot off?
No, we don't have any evidence that the victim in this case had a weapon.
What was that conversation like with him right after you guys got him into custody?
Of the shooter in this
Yes.
case? At this point in time, like I said, he had elected to remain silent and to have a lawyer present with him while he was being questioned. Of course, we're going to give him every right that he has, and so no questions were asked other than just normal booking questions.
Anthony, were you able to give the play-by-play what happened at Walmart after watching the video, or is that on witnesses' accounts?
That was actually watching the video.
Is there any indication that the female was shot possibly first on accident and then the other shooting happened, or, I'm just kind of putting that together in my head?
Investigators believe that when he had reached in, when the driver, Mr. Cloud, had reached into the passenger side window and retrieved the gun, that's when it went off, striking her in the abdomen.
So at one point, the shooter was standing over the victim after he had shot him once.
Yes, and again, without sound, we don't know which of the rounds actually struck him, or when at that time, whether it was one that he was standing over. He just ended in that position where he was standing over the victim.
And fired shots from standing over him.
Yeah, it appeared that possibly the first shot was again, it was maybe from the door, very close to the door of the vehicle, and he advanced on him.
Have both been taken to level 1 trauma centers because they are gunshot victims, or is it not severe enough to need that?
Well, I do know that it's that again, a gunshot victim will go to a level 1 trauma. However, I don't know their current condition. Haven't been able to verify actually which one they've gone to yet.
So is the shooter the only suspect right now? The only
Yes,
person considered
yes.
suspect?
There was multiple witnesses and people that were around, of course, in multiple angles of view from those cameras. They were actually there was another type of a GoPro kind of in someone's car that caught footage from a different angle. So we definitely have many angles of the actual shooting occurring. And like I said, there were many witnesses that are on scene that heard both things beforehand and then again witnessed things afterward. In fact, there was a witness that was able to even get the suspect vehicles as he drove away.
One thing I was just kind of unclear on from talking to a couple of witnesses, did the whole argument start inside the Walmart or happen inside the Walmart, then they all left? Or was the suspect or the shooter outside the whole time?
It believes that, from what we've seen, it appears that this all happened outside the Walmart. When the victim tries to walk in, he actually never breaks the plane of the door. He turns back and, like I said, appears to walk back in a straight line towards the vehicle that he had come from.
Anything you guys are hearing from witnesses that you guys haven't verified but are planning to look into?
Yeah, quite a bit. Always in this situation, we want to know the intent. What did in this case? What was the shooter thinking? Did he believe he was in danger at that point? All those things are very important. They play into this. However, based on the information that we could get from him initially, and we got from all the witnesses up to this point, like I said, we're confident that in those 3 charges, that's what we're going to present to the district attorney in this case.
You did say felon in possession of a handgun for Mr. Clown. Do we know what his previous crime was?
I don't. All I know is that investigators tell me that that's one of the charges they're putting up.
The 911 calls, will they be available tonight, you think?
I believe so.
And how many people did they call? I think that was the initial confusion, is people didn't know shooting at Walmart, am I safe, and what happened?
Gotcha. So I'm told there was some fear that was caused, of course, when there's there's shots that that are in the parking lot. You know, unfortunately, we live in a day and age now where we're unsure whether or not this is going to continue. Is this somebody that has it out for everyone in the parking lot? Is this going to continue going into the inside? So you have a lot of chaos that's occurring at the doors and people running from the back or fronting from the front to the back. So there is a lot of chaos when this is occurring at this time. Again, we don't know of any injuries that occurred from anyone running in. We don't. It appears that at this point, this was isolated to just the parking lot area. It never actually went into the Walmart itself.